Strata project, Balaclava Island Coal Export Terminal. They call it BICET. You may hear that in the news. The second is the Mitchell Group's Fitzroy Terminal project at Raglan Creek in near Port Alma. And the third, and potentially largest, is the Gladstone Port Corporation's industrial port and coal port development for the northern tip of Curtis Island and Balaclava Island. Now, don't mistake this for the LNG development near Gladstone on the southern end of Curtis Island. This is a different additional project that the Gladstone Port Corporation has planned. They each sound relatively simple, but don't be fooled. They would individually have significant impact, but cumulatively the effect would be devastating. All three projects are planned for development on the Gladstone Port Corporation controlled land. Now, I wonder who controls and manages the Gladstone Port Corporation? Well, that would actually be the state government. And that seems a bit contradictory when the Gladstone Port Corporation called to have their land and waterways excised from the World Heritage Area, but then the state government said, oh no, we wouldn't consider that. Now, if I was a renowned previous Queensland Premier, I might say, don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about the fact that Curtis Island is within the Great Barrier Reef World Heritage Area, or that dredging and anchoring of ships will be within the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park. Don't you worry about the fact that the Fitzroy River is the largest river catchment feeding the ecosystem of the Great Barrier Reef. Don't you worry about the fact that Balaclava Island was totally underwater in the 2011 flood. So the infrastructure to create an all-weather port will require terraforming that shoreline of the island. Don't you worry about the fact that the ships will be anchoring upwind and up current from Peak Island, which is a Great Barrier Reef Marine Park pink conservation zone, because it's the second largest flatback turtle nesting rookery in the world. Don't you worry about the fact that the population of less than 90 of the snub-fin dolphin live in the Fitzroy Delta, and they're the only Australian endemic dolphin species. Don't you worry about the fact that there'll be coal dust. Don't worry about the fact that there's acid sulphate soils that'll be dredged up. Don't worry about the north-setting current that brings the flood plume to the coastal beaches and islands of Keppel Bay. Because if it brings that plume, it'll also bring the silt and the turbid water to our beaches and those islands. Don't worry about anything, because the state government, the federal government, they have processes in place to protect the environment. The Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Act, the state significant projects, terms of reference, environmental impact, mitigation, offsets, and on and on and on. Don't worry about that, just have a look at Gladstone. Now,